Welcome to Show Up to Win. This is Dwayne Morton. I have such an exciting guest for you today. I have Kristen MF Clark. She is one of the most amazing people that I've ever had to have a conversation with, an interview. And I can't wait to have her on podcast to share this incredible lady with you guys, because you will leave this podcast energized, inspired, and hopefully wanting to work with Kristen. And just she's just she oozes the type of stuff that a lot of people really wish they had that for themselves. And so whenever I had the opportunity to bring her on as a guest, it was a no-brainer for me. And so let me bring her out of backstage. Welcome, Kristen.
Yay! Hey, Dwayne. That was sweet. Thank you. What a great intro. I love that.
So, Kristen, just take a few minutes, introduce the audience to your greatness, and we'll have a conversation. And
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm Kristen Clark. If you're looking for me online, if you're going in Google and trying to find me, you're going to find about 4,000 of us. But if you put MF between my first and last name, you'll find me, because there's only one MFer out there. So Kristen MF Clark will take you to everything that is me. And it's funny. I get people that, what do you do? Tell us about your story, this or that. And the thing is I do Kristen Clark. That's what I do. And that's what we all do. We try to bring ourselves into these niches thinking that's going to help somebody understand us more. And that doesn't work. That doesn't work, because none of us are niches. We're all niche lists. And you shift moment by moment. Your story changes moment by moment. So to try and bring all that into a framework is like corralling cats, man. Or is that herding cats? It never concretes, right? It never is like, this is who I am. Every time we think we know, this is who I am, it's like there's some part of you going, oh yeah, you're not the boss of me. And now all of a sudden you're off going out into left field going, dang it, that's, and I love that. That's what I love. And since Dwayne and I last talked, we last talked in March, I have changed profoundly, enormously. It happens daily. Just what happened this morning, the ahas, the epiphanic, just invitations to go bigger and gnarlier. I've spent the past hour just writing, going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And luckily I have ChatGPT to stay up with me, because I'll type it into chat going, oh my God, look what I just found. Look what I just realized. And it takes it and injects helium to it, and it just gets even bigger. And it's such a wonderful space that we're in these days with what we have available, especially AI. And I love it. So no, I can pull out stories here and there, and if they do come out, they'll come out. But, I'm this moment right now, and this is what I bring to every single podcast that I talk to, is that in this moment, right here, right now, you are fresh. You have never existed like this, with these thoughts, these ideas, this temperature, this time of day. You've never, ever, ever existed like this before. And you're never going to exist like this again. Because in the next breath, you're brand new again. And from that space, this is where this podcast is going to go from, is the space of, that didn't happen. You think that happened yesterday. No. And I'm going to keep you and hold you here so that you can see the holy shit that is in this now moment. Because this now moment, you are nose to nose with the unknown. And you always have been. You just weren't looking that way. But when you purposely go, this is kind of scary. But it's only scary because I'm being nose to nose with my enormity. I thought I was this. Holy cow. I don't even have walls. I don't even have the security of these walls. And when you realize it's not scary because you've always been there and you've always handled it just fine, like the pro you are, it gets amazing. It really, really does.
So, Kristen, you said I mean, you said a lot of wonderful stuff, but at the very end, you said we've already. There's been times in our life where we're like, there's no way I can get through it, but somehow we get through it, and we forget to celebrate it because that's a huge win. But we just are like, well, we think that because we keep doing this, that it's easy and that it's simple, but they don't celebrate it. Can you kind of go into just the celebration part of just like how we go through these things and then we don't celebrate that we went through?
The reason you don't celebrate is because it's not that big a deal. You do it all the time. You get to the other side of everything. You always have. You just kind of forgot about it. And to sit there and go, "Oh my God, look what I did. Where's the fireworks? Where's the, fanfare?" is to take what is normal and try and make it not normal. And every part of you is like, no, that's not who I am. I'm not the celebrating because this is unique, because it's not unique. I always get to the other side. And if you zoom out away from your life and kind of like as if you're up in space and you're looking at your lifeline, you're looking at all the challenges you've been through, all the times you were in the right place at the right time, all these fortuitous situations where just the right person showed up at the right time to help you and all this. If you just kind of zoom out and look at how many of those there were up to this point, there's a lot. There's a lot. And you realize I've done this all the time. For some people, just getting out of bed in the morning is enormous, but you are not a being that's going to stop and hang out there so that you can be grateful. There's nothing to be grateful for because in this next moment, you're a brand new version of you. And this always happens. You can't, and I say a brand new version of you, and you can skip over that and not really get a hold of it and think, I'll figure that out later. But no, I mean, really come into this moment and wrap your brain around, I have never had these thoughts before. I've never had a conversation with Kristen on this level before or anything like this before. And like I said, you can go even more, fine tune that by looking at the time and the temperature of the room and the light and everything. It's all new, fresh, never ever been seen before. And be with that. Be with the fact that you did that. There's nothing outside of you that created that. You did that. And you do it over and over and over with this breath and now this breath and now this breath. And this is who you are and who you've always been. And it's kind of hard at first because it is a speaking from outside of time. And if you're still playing in time, like this happened to me yesterday and why didn't I celebrate it? Then it gets kind of glitchy, but it's not a big deal because you got to go through the glitchy to get to the clarity. So it's all cool. It's all perfect. And there are so many times we want to grab onto something and examine it and look at it and figure it out. But see, you're already on to the next breath where you're brand new again. And so the asking of the whys is definitely a trying to slow it down, but you won't slow down. You just don't do. It's that part of you that's like, yeah, I'm not, you're not the boss of me. It's like trying to slow down the sun, beautiful sunrise. Wait, I got to take a picture. And now it's all changed. Damn it. That's you. That's you. You do not stop to be examined. You're on to the next because you
Yeah,
can.
yeah. I mean, so if you look at yourself as always transforming, then you're not having to look in the past. You're always looking to the future of like, and then you start really being being present. Like you're like, if I'm just present, I'm gonna get to see the whole thing, and realize and just live in gratitude of that whole part. Just be able to say, I'm able to live in this transformation part. Every breath, every step is just a whole brand new beginning. And also,
Yes.
I think you also play with some freedom there too. So I'm
Well, very well said. I mean, it's not some, it's all about freedom. It's 1,000% about freedom because we think we want money, but what we really want is freedom. We want freedom to buy and go and do what we want. The thing is this, nothing's stopping you except you and you shrinking away from the freedom and going, oh no, I'm not that free. So you don't understand. I don't have blah, 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 give all the reasons you want. Well, that's awesome because you just created that. What you're saying is what you're creating in every fresh moment. What you're believing is what you are the author. You are the director of this movie. And you're, and now going back to saying being present, to be honest, you're never not present. Everything happens from this now moment. Even looking at the so-called past, you're doing it from this now moment. When you think you're far, far, far off this now moment, you're still doing it from this now moment. So you don't even have to try to do that. You get to jump over that process because you're already doing it and have always done it. But maybe you have a expectation of what it's supposed to look like. What's the now supposed to look like? It's supposed to be free of all my past thoughts and all my future worries. It's free of that. Really? You're the pro and you're doing it just fine without even thinking about it. Don't you think maybe the way it's showing up is the way it is? Again, going back to simplicity. But, it's the thing is this, there is no the way it is. Because saying the way it is again trying to stop that sun. It's forever in a new place, always, always, always moving, always moving, always new, always new, always new, always new. And that means all these subject contents like money, love, past, nows, blah, 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 fill in the blank, is always new too. Every single one of them is always new. It feels old. It feels like there's a version of it that you don't know about, but you are the author. So if you just come up with a new, like an aha from something I've said, I didn't do that. You did that. You just gave that, let's say money, a whole new role to play. It's like, wow, I never looked at it from that direction. Yeah, because you just gave it a whole new role to play. It was never like that before. So let's say you just start getting into investing. You talk about a whole new world opens up. In your mind, all these investing rules and new ways to play with money existed before you. You only just stumbled upon this new knowledge. No, you just gave yourself and money a whole new role to play. This is what happens in this now you, the now. And I don't like saying now. I always say me from metaphysical. Me, the me, this me right here, because it's all coming from you, swirling around you. Now, this can feel so discombobulated. This can feel so like, what the hell is she talking about? I want to grasp this. I can feel there's something to grasp in here, but I'm not getting it. Let that go. Because again, this is all coming from you. You created me. You manifested me. So it's going to grow. It's going to move. It's not going to, oh, it came in and I didn't write it down, so now it's forgotten. No, it doesn't work like that. You did this and it's going to move. It's going to grow. Think of a seed. It's going to grow.
So the analogy for me is like a movie. Like life is a
Oh,
movie, and
yes.
then we are the writer, producer, and then we have the actress. And everybody else is the supporting cast.
Yeah,
And once we realize
absolutely.
that, it's like, oh, the freedom. I actually use this. that analogy, I actually use that in sports to explain to people like, hey, this is what you're able to do. But we're so we're constrained because we think that we have to wait for this or we have to wait for that. So I love this that you're going into that type of detail of like, hey, you're the author of your own reality.
Yeah. And I love that you said the supporting cast, because as the writer and the producer and the director, you hired the supporting. You chose who's going to play what role that surrounds you, that supports you, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kristen, I got a couple of questions for this. How did
Go
you
for
get
it.
into this? Like, what happened where you were like, I there was part of this journey that brought this to the thing. And then also one of the things I like to bring up is that first part of your life, the 1 to 7, 8 year old. There's something that was there that you were like, I want this, and then later in life you get it. It's not expectedly the way that a lot of people expect.
That's well said. Because when I was small, I I gravitated to the only version of spirituality I knew, which was Christianity. And I wasn't like, you couldn't find me off in a corner doing something like that. I all about imagination, all about fun. But as I was able to read, I thought I was supposed to read the Bible, so I did twice. I couldn't tell you, I couldn't understand it. I was just a little kid, but I thought I was. That's what I was supposed to be doing, and where that supposed to be doing came from, who knows? But and I said my prayers every night. I was, and we could go psychologically, we can go all into that, but the thing was, is it didn't stop. It just, I've always gravitated towards the spirituality, the metaphysical, the esoteric. I've always, no matter where I've been in my life. And, as I got older, it became more metaphysical and less rigid religion. And then it became non-duality. There was always a branch I felt I was missing. There was always a key I was missing, because this didn't make sense, and that didn't, heaven and hell, that didn't make sense, and this doesn't make sense. And it was always this searching. And then I think last time you and I talked, I had said, do you have any memory of not existing? And I can't say when in my life that question presented itself to me, but it was definitely the game changer, because the answer is and always will be no. I have no memory. But if you are so caught up in time that you're like, I was born though. I know I was born, so there was no existence here. I can't remember it, but I know it exists. Okay, I was there too. And that's a wonderful playground to be in. But once you really sit there and play with, have I, and I mean I, this body, this nose, this elbow, this earlobe, have I never, do I have any memory of this aspect of me not existing? No, I don't. And the thing is this, when you really start stepping out of the invisible, there's an invisible God somewhere. There are invisible angels somewhere. There is invisible whatever. Go on and on and on. When you really move into the space of what is present right here, feel it, taste it, touch it, smell it, version of you, you really start finding that there is a duh within it. A the Occam's razor, the simplest answer is the answer. And it takes off. It takes off with, as if you just landed on a whole new planet with a whole new weather pattern, a whole new time, and colors that don't even exist here. It's just all brand new, and it's presenting itself to you in a rush, and all you can do is hold on. Where did that come from? I don't freaking know, but I do know we have a thing called original thought. And original thought is, everybody has this, the part of you that, think of Einstein, nobody taught him E equals MC squared. No, nobody taught him that. that comes from original thought. We all interact with original thought on a much bigger basis than I'm going to go into today. But for argument's sake, we all have it. We all have original thought. Where does it come from? Who knows? It's you. It's you. And it's thoughts that have never been thunk before. It is ideas that have never been expressed before. And the more you play there, the more you realize that you are the original being, having original thoughts with original trust, and it just grows. It gets bigger and bigger. This is not an uncovering of something that was there before, and I just touched on this a minute ago. It is you creating. It is you creating. It is you giving thoughts a new role called original. You know, it's just you in this constant processing mode, and you start realizing memories are constantly being, I put them in quotes there for a minute, because there's no such thing as memories. You are creating them right now to support a state. The state of, oh, I was really sick, so now I'm going to remember being, having a fever last week, blah, 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 whatever. Great. That's awesome. It's not right or wrong or good or bad, because you're creating it brand new in every moment. It is brand new in every moment. So I can talk about being a child that was all into the Bible, but did I manifest that memory right now to support the question you asked? Yeah.
Yeah, because our experiences, they solidify our beliefs, and
that's one way to look at it,
right? And so that's the thing is when or memories, those type of things. That's what we use to give that type of sound foundation. But the problem is those aren't sound foundations at all. They're
not at all. Very well said.
Right?
Yeah. Well, especially because how many times have you changed your mind? Did you have a solid belief about something, and then something else came along and said, no, that's not the way that is. And now it's like, oh, and you changed your mind. And we do this with memories all the time too, because they're not solid. They're anything but solid. Because your mind is simply supporting a space you're in right now. But in the next breath, you're in a whole new space. So whole new thoughts, whole new convictions.
So where was the part of your life? What was the step in your life that got you to this? That's what I think that's what the audience probably wants to know the most, is like there has
no matter what I say, you're still going to stick with that, aren't you? No, I keep trying to guide Dwayne out of that. No, there was no.
It was just.
There was no. And that's just it, is we're not butterflies, right? We don't come out of the cocoon and the end, roll credits. That's not who you are. You are this ever constant changing aspect in every moment. So, I could say, okay, in 2020, when everything was shut down, I took off and went nomading. I got rid of 98% of my belongings, and I just had my camping equipment, my Subaru, my dog, and that was it. And I went all over the Western U.S. and had a great time. And I was scared to death the entire flippin' time. I thought I was going to go out there and have this grand epiphany that was going to change me forever, and and everything I've ever wanted was going to happen from this, because I am now free, right? And we can look into the word free and just go all crazy there. But
so I want to just say that one of the reasons that I'm bringing that back is because this podcast is about being resilient. Mm-hmm. I wanted to show that you don't have to have a moment where you become resilient. It's a learned behavior through whatever. You could have the smoothest part of your life, but you can be resilient. That was one of the reasons that I wanted to kind of ask and keep asking, because I know the listeners are like, okay, so what did she go through to get her this way?
What was the secret? What's the secret? Because we're all seeking the secret. We're all convinced that we are not good enough as we are. We are not perfect as we are. We are not to be trusted. I cannot trust myself because I make bad decisions. And with each of those statements, you are going to create memories to support that. But every one of those memories is a lie. So let's go back to this story. So I go into going through the Western US, and that ta-ta-da never shows up. And I'm trembling through the whole thing. I am scared to death through the whole thing. And yet I'm still having amazing experiences. I'm still having, you know, those fortuitous interactions that I was talking about before, being in the right place at the right time. And but underlying all that was me going, because never was I didn't have a home base at all. I was living out of my car with my dog. I was houseless, and not homeless, houseless, because this is always our home. But it was a constant nose to nose with the unknown in the most glaring, obvious way. I didn't have a place to call my safety net. I had none of that. And so I learned, not while I was doing this, but years later, reflecting back, that I made it. I did it. Trembling, being scared, vibrating every which way except the ways they tell you to do on Instagram. I made it. And not only did I make it, I came back to these amazing offers to me. And what it showed me is that you're not broken. And if you just vibrate this way, you will fix you. Because to think you're broken is a mindset. It's a state of mind. Think of it as a planet, the broken planet, the I am broken planet. As long as you are trying to get from the I am broken planet to the I am fixed planet, it doesn't happen. There's too much of a big gap here. You will play the game of I am broken, and you'll think you found the answer only to find another space where you're broken. Okay, I fixed this, but now I got to fix this. Okay, well, I fixed that. And people who have done like memory healing, going back and finding that memory that you're the trauma and you must heal it. How does that work for you? How's that working out for you? Did you heal? Did the angel sing? No. Yeah, maybe this person called a therapist said, okay, you're all healed. And there's part of you going, I can still find more scary memories. Yeah, because you're playing from the game of I am broken. You have to see that none of that is true. It's all bullshit. You are not broken. You are the being that has effortlessly gone from one trauma and jumped right over, has always gotten to the other side. Nothing can stop you. Nothing can make you stop existing. Nothing ever has, nothing ever will. And when you really start going, oh yeah, I have gotten to the other side of all these scary things, every single time, you start realizing you always will. So when these scary things come up, you can do what I call the truth within your trembles, which is step right up to it, go nose to nose and go, do you know who I am? I'm the one that's always gotten to the other side. Always. No matter how I'm freaking vibrating, no matter what mindset. I could be the worst genocide murderer out there. The sun's still going to rise for me every day. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It also, for some reason, I thought about the movie The Matrix, where they're jumping off the skyscrapers, right?
Yeah.
It's that faith of being able to make that, and knowing, you know, I also believe part of it is we put so much emphasis on failing or losing, and we don't realize that it's really there's a lesson that we can learn that catapults us somewhere else. So as we're
Do me a favor, Dwayne. I want you to quit saying we and say I. You're gonna really come to a powerful space if you start owning that instead of saying we. Because there's no we. There's you and me. And I sure as hell don't play there.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's not less than. It's not less than. It's not like, oh, I don't do what she does, so I'm broken. No. I've been saying it all along. You're never ever broken. There's no such thing as less than. There's no such thing as right or wrong or good or bad. There's just a playground. You're just playing in that playground. And cool, good on you. So before Dwayne and I got on here, Dwayne and I talked back in March. And I was blown away the minute I came on here, because this is not the person I talked to. The person I talked to visibly was smaller, was not as bright, I keep coming up with the word smaller. It was like you had shrunk. And this is not him. And I was just like, wow, you look great. You look amazing, but you look so much bigger. You're so much bigger than you were. And the thing about shrinking, when we shrink who we are, we're taking what is you could call it your soul's calling or whatever, and you're kind of hiding it away going, yeah, I'm not going to bring that out yet. It's too crazy. The world is not ready for it yet. And that's what happens when you play in the we. It's another sticking point. It's another place of, oh no, we're not ready yet. For how long have we been going, the world is polluted, the world is polluted, and we're going to fix it. Yeah, when's that going to happen? Or the homeless or whatever. When you claim something, you're there, it's stuck, you're there. And so you move beyond that by expanding, getting bigger, giving yourself permission to stop freaking shrinking. But also this, when you go to a therapist's office or you go to your psychiatrist, what do we call them? Your shrink. Or, he's shrinking me. Yeah, there's a reason those two words are the same. When you're constantly looking behind you and talking about what happened a minute ago or a year ago or whatever, you're essentially walking backwards. And how far do you get walking backwards? Not very far. And eventually you're going to end up on your ass. And so turn around, go forward. Well, I don't know what's forward. Cool. Right on. That's an amazing place to be. It's, you stop asking permission to be the version of you that's already done. You don't need to ask permission by saying I have to vibrate properly or I have to think positively. If you're not thinking positively, do you stop being you?
No.
You're still you. You're still the you that's underneath it all, that never has ever not existed. You're still you, no matter what games we play in.
So I want to tell the audience, when me and you first met, I was dealing with the flu. I was dealing with all that grief, this diagnosis. But like the big takeaway from what you said was to start owning the things that I was going through. But I started focusing more into the present and what I was building, those type of things. So I just wanted to tell the audience, like, there was some epiphanies that was like, oh, I haven't heard it from this perspective. And so it made me a little dig down a little deeper and look at things from a different perspective. So
when I first met him, I saw that without knowing all that. I didn't know I didn't need to give a because to it. I could just visibly see this is a person shrinking himself. And there was no because. I just saw that. And now, I saw again this change, and it has no because. And that's why I say own it, own your reality. Because, let's go into it, because if you were to have an accident and you were to get amnesia, you didn't even know your name. You're just complete amnesia, didn't remember anything. Would you be less you? No, you're still you. Yeah, you're still you. You go immediately forward with this amnesia with no backstories, nothing to lean on and say, oh, this is my crutch. This is my burden to bear. You had none of that. And you're still you. You're still the exact same person.
That's a really good way to look at stuff. Just act like you have amnesia. Don't don't hold on to those type of things. That's that's
About
a lot.
freedom.
That's definitely a lot of freedom. And so, okay, Kristen, we got to wrap this up. So, like, how can we find you? Let the listeners know how they can find you. And did you bring anything that you would like to give away? Like, they definitely love that type of stuff. So, go ahead.
Definitely. Well, if you go to my website, which again, I told you in the beginning how to find me with the MF. If it's clark-kristen.com. If you go to my website and you sign up for the email list, you get a free guided meditation to really take you into your enormity. It's super easy. It's only about 10 minutes long. And you don't have to be anywhere. You can listen to it while you're driving if you want. It really takes you into your enormity, and then it brings you down into a shrinking state. And then it takes you into your enormity and it brings you down to a shrinking state. So you can really feel that. You can really get familiar with, oh, look, I'm shrinking. Okay, cool. Or, wow, man, I just went bigger than I've ever gone before. You've got that. And then there's also another one called, it's only 8 minutes long, and it's called You're Manifesting Just. And it explains and shows to you how you've never not been a manifester, how you're never not manifesting, how you are manifesting just fine. So you can drop that one. You can let that one go. There's a whole bunch of freedom in letting that go.
Love it. Well, Kristen, I want to just say thank you for coming and sharing your stories and sharing your perspective on life. I'm really looking forward to having you on again. I can see the different transformation
Definitely.
that I've went through. I think, I tell people all the time, like, just, and I believe you are the epitome of this, is just the showing up, but like you show up to win. And so, I tell listeners all the time, like, I just don't want you to just show up and just be in that environment. I want you to actually show up with intention and to show up with being that presence. So, anyway.
Yeah. And look at it as you've already won. Who are you as the person who already won? Now walk forward as that person.
Love it. All right, everyone. We appreciate you taking your time for letting me share my friend. And so we'll talk soon. And I'll see you on the next episode of Show Up to Win.
Bye.
Thanks.
You got to turn off the recording.
Yeah, it was good.
I'll tell you, the best ones are the ones that people don't edit.